Hey y'all, it's your girl Lenita Harris, and today we're going to be talking about the root. So raise your hand if you've been trying to change something in your life and it just don't seem to really change no matter what you do. Y'all, today we're going to be talking about it. Let's go. Let's get to the root of the thing.
It's never too late for you to embrace who you are. It's never too late to embrace who you were designed to be.
All right. So I want you to think of one thing right now or over the course of this podcast that you've been dealing with that you can't quite seem to get a handle on. And I want you to keep it in your mind as we go through this podcast, okay? All right, so guys, I'm forever working on myself, right? Analyzing and tweaking. And there are many characteristics that I have now that were not innately a part of me. And there are some things that were, but I had to relearn how to do them. I'm going to share two of those things with you because I want you to see two different perspectives, all right? So 85% of the things that I've changed have been pretty easy to change considering the circumstances. But a couple of these things, y'all, have straight giving me the blues. So when I was younger, this is how I would change stuff about myself. I grew up in a church where the leadership always said some things can be taught, but other things have to be caught. Caught as in you just got to be around it to get it. I still believe that wholeheartedly, y'all. I've used both of these methods, but in my younger years, I did more of the catching. So I would always start with trying to learn whatever the thing was for myself. But if I hit a wall, then I would ask God to send someone into my life who embodied whatever characteristic it was that I wanted to be proficient in so I could be around it to see it emulated. Y'all, it worked. Honey, God helped me every single time. Do you hear me? And still does, because I still make these requests to this day. You hear me? And remember how I said earlier that some things I had to relearn? Guess what? Affection was one of those things. See, I was always a very affectionate kid, but I went through a span of time where I felt a lot of rejection when I tried to show it. And eventually I stopped trying and settled into a different way of doing things. Ironically, because of me squelching that part of myself to avoid rejection, I became awkward with affection. I had no meter to determine how much was too much or how much was enough. And see, when you don't practice something, or if you get out of practice, you have no balance, and your confidence to perform in that area can be greatly hindered, thus making your presentation and or reception feel awkward. The energy and vibe that you give off, is going to be awkward. That became me until I was 19. So at 19, I became friends with someone who was highly proficient in showing emotion. She was just all up in your personal space and didn't think anything of it, honey, just as there. Because it was just her, man. And her confidence and level of comfort with herself, that vibe and energy made other people comfortable with her as well. So y'all, when I met her, I hadn't been my affectionate self in so long, I'd forgotten it was once a part of me. See, that part of me wasn't allowed to develop in more ways than one. See, it was squelched at first by others, and then I didn't even allow it to develop because rejection. So when she came into my life and was all affectionate and whatnot, there was awkwardness for me, but also a strange sense of familiarity to it. And after I had been around it enough, I started remembering, oh my gosh, I used to be like this. So then I began trying my hand at it again. Now, I don't know if she realized how awkward I was at it at first, but honey, if she did, that baby never said nothing to me. She ain't never say nothing to me. She just let me be. And I'm thankful for her extending that grace to me. I felt safe with her and like I wouldn't be rejected. And y'all, she never rejected me. So look, sometimes low key, I just copied what she did with me with other people until it became comfortable for me. And I was able to bring my own personality to it and then just be me. Now, it's important that you know that me and that person are still very, very good friends to this day. And we love each other very much. We've been through a lot of seasons with each other. But through that friendship, a long lost part of me was awakened. And I've been able to share my affection and care with many, many people after her. Now, y'all, my one thing that I just could not get the hang of, y'all, was timeliness. My Jesus. Lord, I've struggled forever with that. Seriously, all my life, just could not get it together. Most of my life growing up, the people in charge of getting me to the places had more of a, let's call it a relative sense of time rather than a specific sense of time. So I was always late to everything, literally. Like even my bus driver was a late person. So when I started driving myself around age 16, that just carried right on over. Like I could sometimes be on time. I knew I needed to be on time, but I would mostly consistently be 3 to 10 minutes late, y'all. Ridiculous, right? Like how can one be consistently late within the same very small time frame? And why is it just after the time? That was me. Be early for something? Are you kidding me? Oh, no. I didn't know how to act if I was early here. I'm talking about it felt weird. It felt awkward. Listen, it felt awkward. It felt like I had all this time and nothing to do with it. But in reality, I would be like maybe 4 minutes early. Listen, just pressed for no reason. And when I was on time, it was usually because I was already dressed and ready and all I had to do was leave. Fortunately, what I lacked in timeliness, though, I made up for in personality and kindness and overall work performance when I got there. So all my managers and others just let me be. And I remember one time in all my years in the workforce being written up on account of tardiness. Y'all, I was in the workforce for 14 years. So recently in my life, I was so bothered by not being able to be consistently timely that I asked for God's help on the matter. Now, this wasn't new because I had been asked God for help, right? But this time I said, God, help me here. Reveal to my heart the things that are hidden. So here's a quick story for reference. My husband and I were packing for a trip at that time. Now, for days leading up to the trip, for weeks, honey, I was talking about the stuff I would not wait till the last minute to do. I was talking about what I would do. And what did I do? As my pattern and behavior would have it, I waited to that last minute. You know I did. And then got tired. Lord have mercy. I got sleepy, Jesus. So as usual, I put whatever I was supposed to do off to the morning of the trip. I know. Cut it a little closer, why don't you, Lenita? It was then that my husband said, babe, you gonna wait till the morning of to do all these things? I don't think you realize how long it takes you to actually do stuff. And then he laughed. He just laughed and went on. Now, he had said that to me before that night, I'm sure. But that night, those words hit me strong in my shando. And I ain't know why. So I was like, I'm going to come back around to that. That means something. And so a few days later, I was thinking about timeliness after we had gotten back from our trip. And I had the thought to ask God, show me the root of why I struggle with timeliness. And eventually my husband's words came back to mind. Babe, I don't think you realize how long it takes you to do stuff. And for the first time ever in my life, I asked myself, do I know how long it takes me? I know how long I think it should, but do I actually know how long it takes? Then the next idea I had was to clean up some rooms in my home and to put it all in a planner app on my phone called 24Me. And in parentheses, beside each task, put the estimated length of time I thought it would take me. And then to actually time myself when I got to the task, just to see how accurate my estimation was. Y'all, listen to me. It turned out I actually did not know how long it took me to do none of the things. Baby, I was way off, Jesus, which was why I had struggled so doggone much with timeliness. Y'all, uncovering that was like finding gold. Do you hear me? So I made up in my mind that I would treat myself like a kid and schedule everything so that I could get myself some practice at estimating my time frames and then eventually fall into a routine. So every night before bed, I planned my following day with estimated lengths of time beside each task, and then timed myself to either confirm or adjust my expectations and hone from there. Y'all, it changed my life for real. For real, I became more productive, more aware, and more realistic. And more timely. My God. Listen, that was what I needed, and God showed me. Now, what you need may be different. Sometimes we can find what we need by looking at things externally and hearing about what others have done who struggled in the same area as us. And sometimes we just must do a deep dive internally to find what we specifically need. and God can help tailor the tools to fit you. So let's recap, all right? Some qualities you may have inside you, but they never fully developed. So perhaps you need a safe space to practice and work the kinks out, like I needed to get back to my affectionate self. I needed to catch something. Now, some qualities that you desire, you may not possess at all innately and have to acquire them. Perhaps you can be taught those, or maybe they also need to be caught. You won't know until you start trying to hone or use the quality. So ask God for help accordingly, ask for direction, and just follow. Don't second guess. Just go with it. If you learn about the thing, a tactic or a technique or something, and you try to implement it and it still doesn't help you make much headway, then ask God to send someone into your life who is proficient in that quality or thing, who can walk with you to help you acquire it. That's also called mentorship, y'all. Or if you're a fast learner, maybe you just need to be in the person's vicinity for a little while and you'll be able to catch on. Either route taken, though, you must practice. And it's important to know that any new thing, hear me good, will be awkward and uncomfortable at first, and you likely won't be confident because you're not comfortable yet. But, my friends, practice breeds proficiency. Proficiency breeds comfort, and comfort breeds confidence. And confidence, my friends, opens many doors. So in conclusion, what is that one thing for you that you haven't been able to master? And how is not getting a handle on that one thing hindering your progress and growth in the area that you desire to see growth in? Ask God to show you the root of why you haven't been able to master that thing. Then sit with it and use your critical thinking skills. Search through your true feelings about that thing, whatever it is. Be honest with yourself. God can, listen to me. God can work through and with honesty very, very well. Speaking from experience here. So follow the thoughts and ideas that come to help you find the root. You will know you found the root when something clicks way down deep on the inside of you, and when you make adjustments to that place, where it clicked, you have lasting results. That's how you know you found the root. When something clicks and when you make adjustments, you have lasting results. And it will be overall easier to manage and dismantle that thing that you've struggled with because you've looked in the correct place to pluck up the root of it. I'm going to give you a tip now before I go. Start with your emotions toward that thing. How do you feel when you talk about the thing or when you think about the thing? What do you believe about yourself related to the thing? Starting the search there and being super honest with yourself helps to uncover layers and also gives God the opportunity to show some aspect of his character to you to help comfort you while you feel those emotions. Here's one thing I've learned. I'm going to tell you this and I'm going to go. Look, that's my third closing, ain't it? Here's one thing I've learned. Opportunities will be drawn to you based on your level of skill or who you know. Sometimes your skill is plentiful, but you don't know someone who can help bridge the gap between where you are and where you want to be. And sometimes your skill is lacking, but you know somebody that can get you in the door and develop from there. Now, sometimes your skill is lacking and somebody gets a foot in the door for you and you still don't succeed because your skill is lacking, and therefore bigger opportunities didn't come your way because your current skill level just wouldn't be sufficient to handle them if they did. Now, if you're the person that's asking God to send you major opportunities and little or nothing's happening or coming, baby, change your request. Ask God to show you where you need to make the adjustments so that bigger opportunities can come your way, and or so that you recognize them when they do and capitalize on them. Guys, contrary to popular belief, God isn't in the withholding business. He does not withhold things that you desire from you. It's been my experience that if something isn't happening for you, it's simply because you don't know what you don't know. You just don't know enough yet to make it happen. And that's very, very different than something being withheld. So find that root, guys, and God be with you in your digging. Thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of Let's Talk About It, the Gray Area. And I'll see you next week. Same time, same place.
You can start